All right, I guess we're live. But have you ever asked yourself in that sort of self-imposed, high-pressure kind of way for a headline or a hook sentence, expecting it to pop out of your brain, like you have some sort of copywriting calculator stashed away in your pocket? Like, hang on, Viveka, let me just punch that in here for you. Or you've been in your brain room or space full of expectations when you're under some time constraints. When you say, hey, you're a clever lawyer. What's a clever way of saying X? All right, well, when you're in this state and your copywriting calculator is out of batteries and your mom or your therapist isn't answering your calls, it's nearly impossible to write or think about anything other than possibly the heart attack you're making. All right, a little bit dramatic, but in any case, I hope I got your attention. I'm 𝙼𝙈 𝙋𝙎 of 𝙎 Connect, and I work with lawyers and law firms to position them and leverage LinkedIn. So let's get on with it. You are here for the 10-minute espresso shot of leveraging LinkedIn for lawyers and other professionals. So we're going to get into it. And this one is all about the hook sentence. You have 2 or 3 seconds at most to capture attention so that people actually get to the goal, to the good stuff that you have in the rest of your post. But you really have to earn the see more when you're creating that post. So you've got to captivate, capture attention in some way. So I'm going to give you 3 ways so you sort of climb out of that pressure cooker or the time constraints that we're under, coming up with a hook sentence that will intrigue enough eyeballs to click on the see more for the full post. And if you're coming in here, let me know you're coming in, where you're coming in from, and whatever ideas and suggestions that you have, comments, I'll bring it all. Thanks, Jeff, coming in here from New York, Connecticut border. I know it's getting cold out there. All right, so let's talk about 3 go-to techniques that I really want to focus on today for you to position that hook or headline sentence at the beginning of your post so people actually get to the goodness that you have to offer throughout the rest of the post. But I've curated from one of my favorite creative ad directors and ideation thinkers of all time, 𝙇𝙞𝙣 𝙂𝙆, who was generous enough to come and speak in our private membership, the Lawyer's Brief, at one point. But he is really the expert at sort of working under pressure, high pressure, time constraints. And I think as attorneys, as many professionals, we are under some pretty tight time constraints. So you don't have all day to think about these fantastic hooks or headlines, if you will, for your posts. So one of them that 𝙇𝙤𝙣 references is called smile headlines. Now, if the offer of what you're positioning in your post is good, then don't complicate things. Write some what we call smile headlines. This is a technique where you get the straighter, harder working message out in front, and then you add a little smile or something a little bit unusual about it. Something like, and this is really more relative to products, but think about it in terms of your services, how you can sort of tweak this a little bit. Everything must go except Edna in accounting. She stays. Or free download today. Tomorrow, not so much. Or free for the next 24 hours, $400 every hour after. That would be a good one for lawyers. I mean, that has a little bit of humor. It brings a smile or a chuckle to somebody and grabs their attention. It's a great way of sort of getting somebody off on the right start to the rest of the post. Another one that we've talked about in the past is common quotes or phrases. Think through the common quotes or sayings related to the world that your service lives in. For example, let's say we're going to take it as an example here, but again, use your creativity and apply it to your legal services or your products. In this case, I'm going to use a sporty deodorant, okay? So list any possible common phrases that sort of pop into your head related to the sport or smelling, and then twist them. So this is kind of the twist of a common quote or phrase. Something like, and these take a few minutes, but something like to stink or not to stink, or be the scent you wish to smell in the world. What else, Jeff? Jeff Cunningham. He's always a creative one, popping in here. Let's hear a few more from you as I'm going here. All right. Creative opposites too, and create those opposites. Clients love this. It works. Find some parallel you can make in the language between opposites. You can do this with just about any brief, any client, any offer. For example, let's say a bank wants to talk about their low interest rates on their platinum cards. Your line could be something like small rates, big deal, or pay a little, get a lot. And if you're working, let's say you were selling a car, you could say roars like a lion, priced like a lamb, or giant horsepower, tiny price. Now I'm using sports deodorants and cars and other things, but I just want to bring outside examples in and then have you put your creative twist on it for your legal services or products or a launch or anything new that your law firm has to promote or position come 2025. All right, Jeff, any creatives from you? I see you popping in here. Anybody else? Anyhow, I think that these opposites and these ways of position, whatever you're going to talk about, is, it's something else when we call these things sometimes when they're disingenuous, clickbait. All right, you're trying to shock or sort of surprise somebody or pique their curiosity, and then you don't follow up in a consequential way for the rest of the post. Do not do that. Instead, what I call this is legit bait. So you legitimately enticing somebody and piquing their curiosity and wondering what else, or maybe it's a question that you're going to follow up on. But make sure that when you've earned that see more and they click on that to see the rest of the post, make darn sure that you're following up on that point, that there's a reason why you position that. Yes, shock works. Thanks, Jeffrey. Of course, it does. But make sure that it ties in with the rest of the post. If you're building on that just the purely shock value, and then sort of in a disjointed way, having a completely different point is going to not only send people away, but they may even disconnect with you because that feels a little bit disingenuous. Jeff saying, I'm not the creative, but I'd ask ChatGPT. Sure, that's another way you can do it if you're sort of stuck. There's positioning the sort of this, what I call the smile headlines or the common quotes phrases, and maybe get some ideas from ChatGPT on how to put a twist on that and see what it comes up with. I haven't tried that one in particular. Creating the opposites. Another company that is really, really good at that, and it's phrases that have really stuck with us is Apple. Apple has some really good zingers, like the light computers, the light MacBook when it came out with a huge power, it was all sort of contrasting the opposites there. So look at some of those. I'd say try some of these, put them in a ChatGPT, see how that can, as a tool, can help you sort of conjure up some of these opposites or smile headlines or common quotes phrases. And yes, the shocker, the surprising element is good as long as you follow up in the post that there's a reason that is there. So those are the three points I wanted to bring to you, because if you don't have something enticing, you don't capture attention in this fast-paced, fast-scrolling audience that we have on LinkedIn or any other platform for that matter, then you lose them. They don't even get to the point of your post, which I know a lot of you put some thought into, a lot of thought into. So make sure, and sometimes one of the techniques I use when I get stuck a bit is write out the post in all its ugly draft mode, and then read through it, clean it up a bit, and then pull out something that is sort of the juiciest, the sexiest bit of that post and put it up front as the headline and give it a little bit of a twist. So that way you're really upfront about what the post is about. At the same time, you're really pulling out the essence or the juiciest part of it. So that's another way to work on a post. We don't have all hours of the day. Certainly as lawyers, you're under time constraints as most professionals. So use some of these techniques, toss it into ChatGPT if you like. Great idea, Jeff. And see if you can get that twist, and tailored to your particular service. As you know, it will be found as entertaining or inspiring or educational from your audience perspective as well. All right, that is the 10-minute nugget for this week. And I am wishing all of you a wonderful, relaxing Thanksgiving and a safe one as well. And Viveka Hess, and this is The One Thing, your 10-minute nugget espresso shot of LinkedIn leveraging for lawyers. And if you want to learn more, you're welcome to come on in to our Lawyers Brief. It's a private membership for lawyers, and we meet once a week, and it's a very supportive, creative group where we talk a little bit more in depth about what I'm touching on in these 10-minute nuggets here on LinkedIn. So again, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a very safe one, relaxing one in some way, and I hope to see you next week. All right, thanks for joining me.